Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Self-Care for Leaders Live. My name is Nerissa Street. I am the Possibility Guru. I am so excited that we have someone who I've considered a leader for several years in his field. And we do this series on a monthly basis to talk with high-profile leaders on how they care for themselves and how they continue to foster the message, the things that they want to do in the world while still having a life full of joy and full of balance. And so, you know, there's a conversation about whether or not balance is an actual thing. We think it's harmony, but everybody has a way that they're able to do the things that they're being called to do, as well as live a life that's joyful. So today we have with us the fantastic and the amazing Paul C. Brunson. So I'm going to ask Paul Brunson to speak a little bit about himself, and then we're going to get right into it.
All right, good deal. Well, Nerissa, what's up? Thank you for having me.
Hi, how are you?
Being here. I'm good. It's always an honor anytime someone wants to hear your thoughts. Like that is an extraordinary blessing to be in a situation where someone is interested in hearing your thoughts. And then it's even a larger blessing when they want to hear your thoughts and then share their thoughts with the people in their community.
Yeah,
exactly what you're doing. So it's awesome to be here with you. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'll tell you that you have been you've been a mentor, a virtual mentor for me for several years, and you've inspired me. I remember when you were doing your spreecasts, and I was there every Monday, you know, sharing it with friends. I got a whole bunch of friends involved. You know, we did our work that you suggested for us to do. And I will tell you that my business is better. I will tell you that I became a better person following what you did. So yeah, so that's why for me this is an especially big joy. So we'll get right into it. So here's our first question. For as long as I've known you, you've lauded mentorship as a necessary element to your professional career, or to a professional career in general. Why?
Yeah, you know, what I've realized in my career is that there's not one person I have worked for or worked with that has achieved monumental things. I'm talking about, you know, I work with Oprah Winfrey, right? She's clearly, right, achieved monumental things. I just got back from Istanbul, where I spent time with my mentor, Enver Yücel, who has achieved monumental things. He is one of the largest private schools in the world, right? And also in one of my 9 jobs, for USA Today, I have a new show and column called Uncommon Drive, where I interview the world's top entrepreneurs. And I've now interviewed multiple billionaires, you know, people running companies doing over 100 million in sales. And the commonality among everyone who has achieved something extraordinary is that they have been directly or indirectly mentored, right? Now, the reason why I say directly or indirectly is because many of us don't even realize sometimes that we are being mentored. Just simply following someone on Instagram, right? And getting inspired by them, learning from them. Maybe you send them a direct message with a question and they answer it back, right? That in itself is mentorship, indirect mentorship. And then there's the direct mentorship. Like I was literally, you know, sitting at the feet of my mentor in Istanbul, asking him questions, right? That's direct mentorship. But there's not one person I've met that has not, you know, achieved something great and has not been mentored directly or indirectly. And the takeaway is that there's no such thing, in my opinion, as being self-made.
Wow.
You know, we all stand on the shoulders of someone or of a community. And so that's the reason why I cherish mentorship so much, because I have been mentored and I've seen the yield from mentorship, right? Because I think when we oftentimes think about mentorship, we think of it as a one-sided, one-way street, that it's just value coming back to the mentee. But that's not the case. It's not the case. I think the most extraordinary mentorship is a two-way street. There's value that goes to the mentee, but there's value that goes to the mentor. Because as a teacher, this is something that, you know, that I kind of put myself in the category of is of a teacher, is that, you know, you cherish the time in the classroom because obviously you're imparting knowledge, but you're also being schooled yourself.
Yes.
You know, and so that's the reason why mentorship is so extraordinary and so important to our professional development and even our self-care, because not only are we imparting information and helping people to get, you know, closer to their goals, which is adding value, but we ourselves are honing our skills. We ourselves are being nourished by mentoring. So mentoring is critical, really is.
So you answered one of the questions that I'd had, which was, why do leaders need mentors? And you've gone through it. What would you say? You talked about what you get out of being a mentor. What would you say is something that you've gotten from mentoring yourself?
Oh my gosh! I mean, I'll give an example. Today, one of my mentees, her name is Dontecia Seymour. So hopefully Dontecia sees this. You should tag her on
Dontecia Seymour. We'll make a note of it. Okay.
So Dontecia has been a mentee now for at least 5 years. It's probably a little bit more, but at least 5 years. And I've watched Dontecia from a state of, I think I know what I'm doing with my business. I'm not sure, right? You know, I'm not making any money yet. You know, I aspire to do lots. To fast forward to today, she was doing a chat, and I was like stalking her on this chat. And in the chat, she wrote, "Hey guys, you know, just so you know, I just last month I just did over $100,000 in sales. It was my biggest month ever. I averaged $70,000 a month in sales. I'm now in the healthiest I've ever been. I'm now at a state of, you know, joy. I'm now running a business full team. I have clarity, blah, 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 blah." And I attribute it to Paul Brunson helping me.
Oh, wow.
Now, that statement alone, there is no amount of money, there is no amount of you know, material things that can amount to the feeling, right, that you get when you realize you have impacted someone's life like that. And for me, what I've realized is that, you know, I had a mentor pass away today. I mean, not today, this year.
Oh, wow.
Rick Fritz, and my best friend of 19 years passed away within the last year, Andre Smith. And what I realized in their passing is that life is truly about the impact that you make, right? I mean, that's it. At the end of the day, that's it. It's about the impact that you make. And that impact is really the impact that you make on other people. Mentorship is the medium that allows you to make the most significant, right, the optimal impact on people. And so, you know, I think about Dontecia and making optimal impact, right? I think about, you know, the fact that that's what life is that, like, that's what life is about, you know? And so it's extraordinary. Like, the reward is undescribable.
Wow. Wow. So having somebody like Dontecia, and I want to make sure I'm saying her name right, Dontecia Seymour, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So having someone like Dontecia Seymour, you know, speak about your impact on her. How do you balance then that there's a vision that you have as someone who's a mentor, and then there's a sense of humility that you have to have as someone who's leading her? How do you balance those two things? Like, there's that vision, and then there's, you know, there's the ways that maybe you could see her life going, but then you know, maybe she has something else. How do you balance that vision and the humility at the same time?
I think the key around the balancing of that is that, you know, the teacher must also be a student. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. If you're a leader, to be an extraordinary leader, you have to have been led, you know, and have the willingness to be led again. So I think being a mentor, being able to strike the balance between, you know, the vision and kind of her execution is the fact that I know that I myself am a mentee, you know, that I sit at the feet of other people. And not only am I a mentee to other people, but I think mentorship is very, it's scenario based, right? It's not always this notion where, okay, Nerissa, you know, we're going to have a call and you're going to ask me questions and I'm going to answer, and therefore I'm your mentor and you're my mentee. It doesn't happen that way. You know, the fact that we are sitting here having a conversation right now, and I see how eloquent your background is, by the way. I love your background. I really do, because my background sucks. And
I'm focused on you though, so see?
Which is good, right? One of the things that I have always thought about is I'm a minimalist. I don't like putting stuff on my walls, right? I don't like I'm like, so, like I wear either blue or black like all the time. I'm so minimal, right? But what I love about your background is it's like this clear board that you could write on and therefore you could erase. I love it. I'm going to steal this idea. You're going to see that board on this wall probably in the next week.
Awesome.
But here's the take, right? The take is that you have me on to share ideas, to almost mentor you in the audience. But I am now also a student at the same time, because you have taught me through your action and what you know, what's on the board. And so I think that happens, or the reason why we're able to balance is because you have to be willing to be led or to lead at any time. You're willing to be taught or to teach at any time. And so therefore, you know, mentorship is very scenario based. And if you can do that, if you can have that willingness to be taught or to teach at any time, you're at the highest high of mentorship and being a mentor and mentee.
Okay, that's amazing. So, what would you say then has been the biggest gift of yourself being a leader and being a mentor?
Biggest gift,
yeah,
you know, is the understanding of self-worth. I think that might be top of the list. Trying to think if there's anything.
Dig into that, the understanding of self-worth. I want you to unpack that, because that's juicy. Like you just, sorry. It's just really juicy. Like you just,
go deep.
It really is. So please dig into that a bit.
You know, self-worth is something that, you know, we kind of, it's popular to talk about and popular to write about. But when you really do the analysis, and coming from the matchmaking space,
right,
where we have, you know, so I sold my agency in 2016, but I still sit on the board. I'm still familiar with the clients that come into the agency and clients that go into other agencies. We figured out that on average, about 80% of our clients have a very low understanding of self-worth and self-value, right? 80% easily, right? Wow. And if you think that, okay, is that somehow you know, reflective of larger society? I'd say probably so. You know, the vast majority of people that I interact with, I don't think they fully understand their self-value and their self-worth. And so in order for me to finally get to this state, which has only been within the last few years, it is me understanding my self-worth based on what I'm able to actually share, you know? And what I mean by that, and this is how mentorship has come in, is mentorship has been the medium that's allowed me to share what I know in terms of finance, or what I know in terms of entrepreneurship, or what I know in terms of, social soft skills, and what do I know in terms of relationships and dating, and being able to share all of this through this medium of mentorship has allowed me to understand fully, wow, the information that I'm sharing based on experience and theory is of high value. That's coming from me. Therefore, I must be of high value if what I'm imparting is of high value, right? And so mentorship is what really has allowed me to fully understand, wow, you know what? Okay, Paul, you know some stuff. You know, if you were to, like, when we did Mentor Monday, which was maybe 4 years ago, maybe?
It feels like longer than that, honestly. It really does. Maybe I feel like maybe. So let's say 4 years.
Okay, but no, I'm with you though. I tend to like, it's probably like 6 or 7 years ago, right?
Yeah, I feel definitely like it's like that long. Yeah.
During that time, 6 or 7 years ago, I didn't understand my self-worth at all. I didn't understand it. I thought I did, but I undervalued myself, which is what I think a lot of us do, is we think we know our self-worth, but we're really undervaluing our self-worth. Today, where I sit, I feel like, no, you know what? I get it. I understand my self-worth. And I know that through mentorship.
Wow. So, because there's two ways I can go with this. So the conversation about self-worth, I think, also leans into the type of work that you've decided to take on now, and so making that decision about how valuable your knowledge is and how valuable what you do, what you contribute to other people, it feels like that's where your shift came from. So like you said that you sold your matchmaking agency, and then now you're moving into another space. And although your brand has been that, how do you, when you've made that shift, and it's for you to do the thing that, you're more passionate about. When you wrote that letter about it, I said, oh my gosh, this is definitely where I saw you, like where you're going now. So how do you make that shift? Like, you made a decision about yourself, you put your business in one direction. And then as you evolved in the business, you're like, this is not me. Or this is no longer, this was me, but now I'm moving to something else. How do you do that publicly? Because you did it publicly. And I don't see many people who do that. Like, they stick at the thing.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? Like, they stick at the thing when we all know they should have left it a while ago.
Yeah, right. Right.
So how did you do that publicly? I think people are scared of that, and I'd love for you to speak into that.
Yeah, this is a monster question, because it's probably the question that I most often get from friends or professionals who are known for one particular brand and they want to shift.
Right.
I have a friend who's a popular TV personality, and she emailed me right when I announced that I was, joining USA Today, and she was like, "Paul, we have to talk." Right? Because she's trying to figure out, how can I start to shift in the next couple of years? I had a call earlier today, probably about 3 hours ago, with someone, the exact same question, right? So here's what I know. One of my favorite books and one of the most popular business/brand books in the last 5 years is The One Thing by Gary Keller.
Okay.
In this book, he argues that success demands a singleness of purpose, right? Success demands a singleness of purpose. That I agree with. Then he goes on to describe how, in order to achieve monumental success, how you have to be laser focused. Now, what I believe a lot of people have done, and this could have been his intent, is they have interpreted that as, that means you need to have one job, one career, one skill set, and drive at that until you're the best of the world. Like, you want to be Beyonce, you have to learn how to sing and dance, combine those and just sing and dance and sing and dance and sing and dance. And then 10,000 hours later, right, you're going to be the best in the world.
Right.
Excuse me. Now, I disagree with that conclusion, but I agree that success demands a singleness of purpose. But just because you have a single purpose doesn't mean that the formats that you use for that purpose need to be the same thing.
Yeah.
What I do is Nerissa, I joke that I have 9 jobs. I literally have about 5 jobs, right? I literally have about 5 jobs. Right. I'm a columnist for USA Today where I interview entrepreneurs all over the world. Actually, this will be a scoop for you. I haven't publicly talked about this, but my family and I, we're moving to London. I'm going to host a show in the UK. Yep, going to host a show in the UK.
Can you tell us the name of the show or not yet?
I can't tell you the name.
Okay, we'll watch. We'll keep our eyes peeled.
It's in the dating space.
Okay, awesome.
So that's job number 2, right? Job number 3 is that I sit on the board of one of the largest private universities in the world, and I broker deals with them, with governments. You know, that's why I was in Istanbul the last week. It's a time-intensive job, right? That's 3. Founding board of trustee member. 4 is I just launched a production company with my brother. We have a team already of 9 people. We've been working for the last 9 months on this project, right? We are close to securing our first network deal with this production company. It's a massive undertaking. That's 4. And then 5 is that I take coaching and mentorship very seriously. I have a mastermind that I run twice a year. I've started doing retreats. I periodically host weekend workshops, right? So those are my 5 main, each one of those are independently full-time jobs, right? But these are the 5 main things that I do. Now, a lot of people look at that and say, you know what? They're all over the place. What are you doing, right? All 5 of them to me, they're all about teaching. They're all about sharing knowledge.
Yes.
That's just what they're about. They're all conduits for me to share knowledge. That's what it is. And all of the knowledge I do always falls within 3 things. And I've never talked about this, but I'll share this with you. Is I only take on projects if they're going to inspire, right? If they're going to teach, and if they're going to create awareness, right? So if they're creating awareness, teaching, you're actually, so awareness, like, wow, you've discovered something. And through the discovery of that thing, you've now learned something. And you're now inspired by learning that thing to go out and change something about you. Those are the projects I take. And so everything I do has a single purpose, a singleness of purpose, but I'm doing it 5 different ways. And so my point here is that it doesn't matter what the public tells you should or shouldn't be doing. People my entire life have been saying, don't be a matchmaker. That's the worst thing you should do, right? Or don't go to Turkey, right? You can get blown up in Turkey. You're gonna leave matchmaking now and go be a journalist? That's the worst thing. Join media. What? You're gonna, like, my entire life has been don't do. And what I've realized is that 99% of people don't even know what they're like. They're not experts of me. You're the only expert of you. And so the answer to that question, a brilliant question of how do you shift, is you just have to have a North Star. That's all. You need to have that thing, that purpose that you're passionate about. And once you have that, by any means necessary, get to that thing. And don't worry and don't have to care about what anyone else says, because everyone always has a complaint, right? Everyone has a complaint. You talk to the Oprahs and the Enver Yücel's of the world, people still complain about them, right? Oprah just was in the movie Wrinkle of Time, and what did they say? when she was in Wrinkle, oh man, that was a waste. You know, oh my gosh, that's such a tarnish on her career. Like, what? They're always complaining. Like, people are always complaining. So it doesn't matter. Oprah has a singleness of purpose, and I think she's doing quite well with
Right.
that.
Right. Oh my gosh. I cannot even, like, everything that you said is just, I mean, I think for a lot of people who find themselves in the public eye, particularly people who find themselves called leaders, I would say, not necessarily that call themselves leaders, because a lot of people don't want to take that title on, but they're doing the work.
Right.
A lot of people who are like that, they feel, because they have an audience, that they're obligated to that audience, right? And so that conversation about find the North Star and go for it, I think that in itself is a conversation about self-leadership. And you know, when I did a talk recently, and I said to somebody, when they were asking a question, I said, your joy will lead people. That, I think, is a thing that we have to more and more, as we care for ourselves, those of us who are in the public eye, I think we more and more have to lean on our joy more and trust that whoever is in our audience will follow along with us. If that's who they're truly supposed to be with, they will be there. And those who are not supposed to be following us are resilient enough to find their own North Star, whatever they need.
Exactly.
So your words are just so, like, on time. And I can't wait. So we're gonna wrap this up. I know you have you know, wonderful things that you're moving on to do, and so what I'd love for you to leave us with, and we're also going to add in to this video, there's also going to be imagery that tells people, you know, so they can see it, where they can find you. I want you to tell us about the next project that you're working on, where people can access your wisdom. So, you know, whether it's that mentorship conversation you were talking about, the show, I know you can't tell us a little bit too much about that, but wherever we can find you, wherever we can be virtually or in person mentored by Paul C. Brunson, let us know right now, please.
Well, I will tell you. So I have, and you know what, Nerissa? I don't think you're in this, and you should be in this, because I haven't seen your name pop up yet.
What's this? Tell me.
So, okay, to this exact question that you have, a lot of people have said, all right, Paul, look, how can I, you know, if I can't join a mastermind, or can't, you know, fly down to Barbados, like, how can I access more of, you know, your knowledge, basically, right?
Right.
I have formed a private community called Creator Founder. And in this community, it is only made up right now of all of my mentees who have participated in a structured program with me.
Oh, okay.
And so we have about 115 people in the group. And I try to show up every day. We all share, build with each other. So long story short, there's no website that says, join this community. It's simply just direct messaging me. I am at Paul C. Brunson everywhere, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook, at Paul C. Brunson. Okay. If anyone watching this wants to get more, at me, say, hey, Paul, I'd like to join that community. It's real simple. Boom, we add you, right? So that probably is the most direct way. Outside of the structured programs I have, that's probably the direct way. And it's a free community. You know, we do free masterminds every Tuesday. You know, we share resources with each other, we support each other. It's great. It's an awesome place. Awesome.
That's stunning. Okay, well, we'll look out for everything else, though. We'll make sure to be looking out for that television show. You say that it's in London. Is it something that we'd have to cable or something? Or
yeah.
Okay, all right, or online. Well, we'll look out, because that sounds fantastic, what you're doing.
Thank you.
So the last question I think we have for you is, give us a thought on something that you do to care for yourself that may be a little unexpected.
I eat dinner with my family every night.
Beautiful.
Yes. And typically play one game of chess with my boys every night, right at dinner. So, you know, I think everyone can read into that a million different ways in terms of why that's important for me, you know, the family, etc. But I do. I have a heavy travel schedule, but whenever I am home, no matter what's happening,
Go ahead.
Whenever I'm home, because of the heavy travel schedule, I have my day scheduled so that I'm always eating dinner with my family.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate what you've given to us, the wisdom that you've given to us, the ability for us to connect to you. And we know how to get to you at Paul C. Brunson everywhere. We are wishing you the absolute best moving forward. And definitely I will be myself going into that group.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I was saying, I look forward to that. And I want to thank you. I want to congratulate you, right, on what you've done with your brand over the years. And I appreciate the, you know, just the opportunity to come in and talk with you. And rest assured, next time you see me, I'm going to have that.
Yeah, it keeps me focused too. So thank you very much for your time. And have a wonderful, wonderful evening and the rest of the day.
All right. Thank you. You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.